What if one act of kindness could turn a life of struggle into a legacy of hope? Welcome to Black Voices Justice, where we tell the stories of ordinary people facing impossible odds and choosing compassion when the world expected indifference. If you believe kindness still matters, if you believe justice has a voice, hit that subscribe button right now and join our community. Thank you for being here, for listening, for caring. Now, let's step into the story. What if giving away your only hot meal could alter the fate of an entire neighborhood? That question is where we begin. Stay with me, because by the end you'll understand why a single act of kindness from a teenager most people never notice can ripple outward like a tidal wave. Malik Carter wakes up before dawn without an alarm clock. 17 years old. He doesn't need a bell or buzzing phone. His body just knows when it's time. The air inside his grandmother's house is cold, not the kind of chill that makes you shiver for a moment, but the deep cold of a furnace that's been broken for 3 winters. He pushes off the thin blanket, careful not to wake Gloria, 75, diabetic, arthritic, still trying to look after him the way she did when he was small. Her wheezing is steady but heavy, like someone carrying a bag of rocks up a long hill while she pretends to sleep whenever he tiptoes past her door. She doesn't want him to know how much pain she's in, but he knows. The house itself tells a story. The paint has peeled into flakes the color of parchment, porch steps sag in the middle from decades of footsteps. A kitchen. Window is sealed shut with duct tape. There's no money for replacements, yet everything is spotless because, as Gloria repeats like scripture, being poor never means losing pride. Malik slips into jeans that are already stiff from yesterday's dishwater. He checks his pocket. $3.46. Enough for a bus ride to work. Not enough to get back. He'll walk the 3 miles home. Tonight, he's walked farther. The street outside is still wrapped in shadows. Few lights glow in the row houses. Sets off toward Ray's diner. Sneakers slapping against cracked sidewalks. The route takes him through neighborhoods that are really chapters of one book. First, tidy lawns and 2-car driveways. Then, sagging apartment complexes where rust clings to balconies and laughter sounds more like survival. Finally, the silent husk of a shopping mall. Its parking lot broken by weeds. Its windows boarded like blind eyes. Ray's diner hums like a machine even before sunrise. Fluorescent bulbs flicker above chrome counters. The smell of bacon fat clings to the air. Behind the counter, Big Ray himself is chopping onions with the precision of a surgeon. He nods when Malik enters. Not unfriendly, just busy. Their conversations are brief, but the respect is real. Ray knows Malik shows up on time, never complains, and scrubs pans until they shine like mirrors. The dish station is a rhythm that Malik knows by heart. Hot water, stack of plates, scrub, rinse, dry, repeat. Blisters became calluses months. Echoes sometimes he stares at his hands and wonders, do college hands look softer? Do they carry books instead of bleach? From his corner, Malik can see out the narrow window facing the lot. He watches people flow through the morning like a parade of different lives, families with backpacks, construction crews grabbing coffee, suits talking into phones, each one moving toward futures. He can only imagine, at 7:15, his shift ends, but the day is only half begun, because next comes Roosevelt High, a building that leans like an old boxer, bricks tired and computers outdated. Lockers refuse to shut, ceilings drip when it rains. Yet here, Malik transforms. Inside these walls, he is not just the dishwasher kid. He is the student with straight A's, the one teachers quietly root for. Mrs. Patterson, his English teacher, once told him, "You have a gift with words, Malik, a real gift. Have you thought about college?" The word felt foreign on his tongue. College. Kids from his block. Don't go there. They get jobs if they're lucky. But Mrs. Patterson doesn't let go easily. She slips him. Pamphlets. Scholarship forms, pictures of libraries larger than city blocks. Malik tells her the truth. I can't afford it. Her answer never changes. Maybe not today. But dreams find their own funding when the dreamer is worthy. So while other kids buy hot meals at lunch, Malik eats a peanut butter sandwich from home and studies those brochures. Numbers glare back at him. Tuition higher than his grandmother's entire yearly income. Even with aid, it feels impossible. But impossibility is something Malik knows well. He's been pushing against it since the day his mother died and his father disappeared. Every plate he washes is a small rebellion against that impossibility. Every night he tucks Gloria's blanket tighter and tells her not to worry. And yet, behind the grind of routine, something else is stirring. Because for the past 3 days, strangers have been asking quiet questions about him. Neighbors noticed an unfamiliar car parked on the corner. Teachers received polite phone calls about student character. Someone is watching. Someone is waiting. Malik doesn't know it yet, but tonight, the test of his life will arrive disguised as 2 hungry strangers, a test that begins with a simple plate of food and ends with a decision that will echo for years. The November sky spits rain that feels like nails against the diner's windows. Thunder rattles the glass. Wind drives puddles into rivers that snake across the parking lot. Inside, Ray's diner is a fragile island of light. Malik has been counting coins all week. No sodas, no snacks, no bus rides, just work, school, and empty stomach. 3 days of sacrifice for this moment. His first chance in months to sit down as a paying customer instead of standing behind a sink. The burger and fries waiting on the counter represent more than calories. They represent choice. He wipes his wet hands on his apron, ready to claim the meal. Then he notices table 7. 2 figures sit in the corner booth, out of place like actors in the wrong play. An elderly man in a rain-soaked suit that once cost more than Malik earns in a year. A woman with silver hair plastered to her designer coat. Their cups of coffee sit nearly empty, steam long gone. The woman digs through her purse, glasses, tissues, mints, no wallet, no money. Her voice trembles loud enough for Malik to hear. I don't understand. I had it when we left the house. The man pats every pocket, pulls out an antique pocket watch, and shakes his head. Nothing. Sandy, the evening waitress, approaches with a check in her hand and sympathy in her eyes. Folks, I'm sorry, but we can't. Her words trail off. She doesn't need to finish. Everyone in the diner knows the rules. No payment, no meal. Ray can't afford exceptions. The couple begins to rise. Dignity intact, but pride wounded. The woman clutches a leather folder against her chest. Malik glimpses papers inside, stamped with a gold emblem he doesn't recognize. They move toward the door. The storm outside screams against the walls. At their age, stepping back into that weather could be dangerous. Everyone knows it, but no one moves. Malik stares at the tray on the counter. Burger hot fries still crisp. 3 days of saving, waiting, walking, the first meal he's chosen for himself. He feels the pull of hunger, the weight of fairness. Why should he give up what little he has? Another voice whispers louder, if you don't act, who will? His grandmother's words echo, generosity is the only thing that multiplies when you share it. He takes a deep breath. Sandy. Malik calls, wait! The couple turn. The woman's eyes are rimmed red, whether from rain or shame. The man's pale gaze fixes on Malik with startling intensity. This one's on me, Malik says, sliding the tray toward them. Silence swallows the diner. The woman protests. Oh, sweetheart, no. We couldn't possibly. But Malik pushes the food forward. Please, sit, eat. Everyone deserves a warm meal. The man studies him like a riddle. Son, this is your dinner. You worked for this. I can work for another one, Malik replies. Sandy hurries to refill their coffee. Ray, watching from the kitchen doorway, frowns but says nothing. The woman introduces herself as Helen. The man, Edgar. They tell a story of a broken-down car and a missing wallet. Malik listens without judgment. He simply nods. Cars break down. Happens to everyone. Edgar leans closer. You work here after school, don't you? Saving for something bigger? College, maybe. Business administration. Something that helps my community. The words sound fragile as he speaks them, like dreams too thin to hold weight. Not silly at all, Edgar says, voice firm despite his damp clothes. Tell me about your community. Malik hesitates, then answers. Roosevelt High needs computers that actually work. Our neighborhood hasn't had a real medical clinic in years. People travel across town for checkups, and there's this mall. Abandoned. Boarded up, could be housing, or a training center. But it just sits there rotting. Helen glances at Edgar, clutching the leather folder tighter. Malik catches a glimpse of that same gold emblem again. It sparks recognition. Though he can't place where, Sandy returns. The tow truck will be here in 20 minutes, she says. Edgar nods. Thank you. Then he looks at Malik. Your name again? Malik Carter. Edgar pulls a napkin and carefully writes it down. Along with an address, Helen whispers urgently in his ear. He nods, folding the napkin like it's something valuable. Son, Edgar says, his tone shifting, heavy with something unspoken. What you did tonight tells me everything I need to know about your character. It was just food, Malik insists. No, Edgar replies. It was a choice, and choices reveal who we really are. The storm outside begins to ease, but Malik's heart is racing. Why did Edgar treat his name like a contract? Why hide a wallet earlier but pull one out for the mechanic later? Why did that gold emblem look so familiar? Sandy slides into the booth across from him after the couple leave. Malik, I've been here 15 years. Never seen anyone give away their only meal. Ray surprises him with another burger, fries, and a slice of pie. You earned it twice tonight, the old man mutters. Malik takes a bite, but doubts gnaw louder than hunger. What if the couple weren't who they seemed? What if this night wasn't an accident? He doesn't know it yet, but the answer will come tomorrow morning, inside the principal's office, with his name printed in bold letters across a folder he never knew existed. Morning light creeps through thin. Curtains on Willow Street. Malik barely slept. The storm from last night still echoes in his head. The soaked couple, the lost wallet, the napkin with his name written like scripture. Gloria sits in her recliner, oxygen machine humming. She eyes him closely. You're quiet, baby. What happened at the diner? He tells her everything. The strangers, the meal he gave away, the way the man stared at him like he wasn't just a kid scraping plates. Gloria listens, nodding slowly. Sometimes angels show up in disguise. Sometimes they test us. They weren't angels, Grandma. Just people who forgot their wallet. Maybe, maybe not. The question is, did you pass the test you'd give yourself? Malik doesn't answer. He can still feel hunger in his stomach, but he also remembers the look in Helen's eyes when she bit into the burger. Relief, gratitude, almost reverence. By the time he reaches Roosevelt High, rumors have already spread. Students whisper in the halls. Sandy must have told someone. By third period, everyone knows Malik gave away his only hot meal. Some call him stupid. Others call him soft. His best friend Jamal shakes his head. Man, you'll stay broke forever helping strangers. Malik laughs it off, but doubt clings. Had he been foolish? Was kindness just another luxury he couldn't afford? Mrs. Patterson pulls him aside after English. I heard about what you did. She doesn't lecture. She just says, the world needs more people who act when no one's watching. Her words should feel encouraging. Instead, Malik feels the sting of suspicion. Because someone was watching, he can't shake the feeling. At lunch, he opens his peanut butter sandwich while Jamal devours a tray of hot food. A group of kids at the next table laugh, imitating him handing over an invisible burger. Here, take my dinner. I'll just starve, one mocks. Malik's face burns, but he keeps eating in silence. Numbers run through his mind instead. 3 days of saving, 21 hours of dishwashing, one meal gone in 30 seconds. That math doesn't add up, and yet, the sense of rightness still lingers. The cafeteria noise fades as his thoughts circle back to Edgar's piercing eyes. Helen's tight grip on that leather folder, the emblem printed on those documents. Where had he seen it? A magazine? A news article? Something about Whitestone. The bell rings. Malik gathers his books. Heading toward history class. Halfway down the hall, the intercom crackles. Malik Carter. Please report to the principal's office immediately. Students. Turn to stare. He's never been called there. Before. Not once in 4 years. The whispers follow. Him all the way down the corridor. Carter's in. Trouble. What did he do? Probably about last night. Through the glass of the main office, Malik freezes. 2 figures sit across from Principal Harris, Edgar and Helen, but not the soaked, desperate couple from the diner. Today they look like royalty, suits immaculate, coat flawless, confidence radiating from every gesture. Malik's pulse races. What were they doing here? Why did Principal Harris look so serious? The secretary opens the door. They're waiting for you. Inside, Edgar rises to his full height, not frail, not stranded, a man who commands rooms by simply existing. Hello again? Malik, he says, voice smooth, deliberate. Malik swallows hard. You're not who you said you were. Helen smiles faintly. We are exactly who we are. But last night, you only saw one version. Principal Harris clears his throat. Malik, Mr. and Mrs. Whitestone are here on behalf of their foundation, a very significant foundation. Edgar lays a thick folder on the desk, on its cover. Candidate assessment, Malik Carter. Malik's own school photo stares back at him. His heart stops. We've been watching you, Edgar says calmly. For 3 days. We've spoken with your teachers, your neighbors, even your employer. We've studied your grades, your work ethic, your choices. Malik's voice cracks. You lied to me. You staged everything. We created a scenario, Helen corrects gently. There's a difference. We wanted to see how you acted when there was nothing to gain. Principal Harris leans forward. Malik, listen to them. This isn't punishment. It's opportunity. But all Malik can feel is betrayal. The storm, the hunger, the humiliation of giving away what little he had, all orchestrated like theater. His hands clench. Why me? Edgar slides the folder closer. Because transformation begins with character, and yours just revealed itself. Malik's world tilts, everything familiar. The halls, the lockers, the sound of students outside, suddenly feels distant. He stares at the folder, his name printed in bold, his life dissected on paper, and beneath it all, a gnawing question. If opportunity is built on deception, can he trust it? The folder spreads open across the principal's desk like a map of Malik's life. Page after page of documents. Report cards stamped with A's. Notes from teachers calling him disciplined. Remarkably mature? Compassionate. Statements from neighbors about groceries carried, snow shoveled, kids tutored. Malik feels his throat tighten. They knew everything. Private details he never offered. Moments he thought were invisible. Even Big Ray's handwriting is there. Describing Malik as the most reliable kid I've hired. This is surveillance, Malik mutters. It's invasion. Edgar doesn't flinch. It's evaluation. We don't invest in communities lightly. We identify character first, Helen adds. Scholarships can buy education. Money can buy buildings. But true change requires someone rooted in the struggle. Someone trusted. Her words cut deep, because Malik has dreamed of fixing the very problems listed in their reports. Roosevelt High's broken computers, the lack of a clinic, the boarded-up mall, but he can't ignore the sting of manipulation. You had a wallet, he snaps. I saw it when the mechanic came. Why pretend you couldn't pay? Edgar's blue eyes lock on his. Because sacrifice reveals truth. We needed to see if you would choose compassion when it cost you something real. Malik's fists clench. You starved me for a test. We didn't starve you, Helen says softly. You had a choice, and your choice confirmed what everyone said about you. Principal Harris tries to bridge the silence. Malik, think bigger. They're offering possibilities no one from our district has ever received. But Malik's chest burns with conflict. Isn't deception still deception, even when wrapped in opportunity? Edgar slides another document across the desk, a blueprint, lines and measurements forming the outline of a massive building. Helen leans forward, her finger tracing elegant lettering across the top. The Malik Carter Community Development Center. Malik blinks. That's my name. Because this is more than charity, Edgar explains. It's partnership, a $25 million investment to transform the heart of your neighborhood. But it needs a leader with integrity. Helen continues, we're prepared to fund your entire education, tuition, room, board, living expenses, every dollar covered. During summers, you'll intern at our centers in Chicago, Atlanta, Denver. You'll learn how to manage programs, secure grants, train staff. When you graduate, you'll return here. Assistant director first. Then, if you're ready, the director. Malik stares at the blueprint. A clinic, computer labs, job training facilities, a library. Spaces that look like everything he ever imagined. But the weight of betrayal presses harder. All of this, he whispers. Because I gave away one meal? Edgar shakes his head. No. Because one meal revealed a lifetime of choices. Straight A's, despite working 20 hours a week. Respect for your grandmother. Service to your neighbors. You live generosity, Malik. You don't perform it. Helen opens her leather folder again. Inside are statistics he's never seen collected about his community. 41% of adults lacking digital literacy. 63% of children living below the poverty line, the nearest medical clinic more than 10 miles away. These are solvable problems, she says, with resources, with leadership, with you. Malik's eyes sting. This is everything he's ever wanted for Gloria, for Jamal, for his block. But it feels like a trap wrapped in gold paper. Why me? He asks again. There are thousands of kids like me. Exactly, Edgar replies. And if we can prove transformation here, others will follow. You'll be a model. The room tilts again. Malik thinks of Gloria's cough echoing through thin walls, of Jamal calling him soft for sharing food, of his mother's photo tucked inside a cracked frame. This could rewrite all of it. A future without endless dishwashing, a neighborhood with hope instead of boarded windows. But still, the bitterness lingers. You built a lie just to watch me squirm. The test was real, Edgar insists. Your kindness was real. Your hunger was real. And so is this offer. Principal Harris's voice lowers. Malik, in 30 years, I've never seen anything like this. You would be the youngest director in the Whitestone Foundation's history. You'd change lives. Malik looks down at the business card Edgar finally offers. Heavy stock, gold emblem embossed in the corner. Whitestone Foundation. He doesn't take it. Not yet. Because another question rises louder than all the promises. If I say yes, am I choosing hope or selling my soul to deception? Malik leaves the principal's office with the blueprint images still burning in his mind. The gold emblem, the promise of a future he never dared picture, and the sour taste of manipulation that won't let go. The hallway feels heavier than usual. Students stare as he passes, whispering. He can't tell if they know what just happened or if they're just reacting to the strange look on his face. Either way, Malik feels like he's walking underwater. At his locker, Jamal slams a fist against the metal. Bro, you good? They said you got pulled in with some fancy people. Malik shrugs. They weren't who they pretended to be. What you mean? They tested me, lied to me, then offered me everything. Jamal frowns. That sounds like a scam. Malik almost wishes it were. A scam would be easier to dismiss, but the papers, the stats, the principal's expression, they were too real. That night, Gloria waits in her recliner. The news flickers on the old TV, but she's not watching. She studies Malik's face the way only grandmothers can. What's wrong, baby? He hesitates, then spills it. The white stones, the staged hunger, the blueprint with his name across the top, the promise of scholarships, jobs, a community center worth more than every house on their block combined. Gloria listens without interrupting. Her hands folded tight, her breath wheezy but steady. Finally, she says, "So they lied to see if your kindness was true." "Yes." And it was. Malik's voice cracks. "But doesn't the lie cancel out the truth?" Gloria shakes her head slowly. "Baby, life will test you 1,000 ways, some fair, some cruel, but the test doesn't erase your choice. You still chose to give. That's what matters." Malik looks away, ashamed of the part of him that wanted to keep the meal. Gloria smiles gently. "You passed, Malik. The question is, what will you do with the reward? Sleep doesn't come easy. When it does, it's restless. Dreams of blueprints turning into prison bars, gold emblems shifting into shackles." He wakes before dawn, drenched in sweat, the same way he wakes for work but with no energy to rise. At the diner, Ray eyes him carefully. "You look like you've seen a ghost." Malik shrugs. "Something like that." Sandy pours coffee. She leans close, whispering. "I told Pete about those folks. He said something strange. Their car? It didn't break down. Just needed a jump. Battery was disconnected on purpose." Malik stiffens. So it wasn't just suspicion. It really was staged. Ray overhears. Figures. Rich people love playing games. But Sandy shakes her head. This wasn't just a game. They were watching you, Malik. Testing you. During school, the strange ripples continue. Mrs. Patterson calls him aside. "Someone phoned me this morning. Asked about your grades, your character, your future plans. They knew everything already. They weren't asking if you're a good student. They wanted to know if you're a good person." Malik can barely breathe. The net is tightening around him, questions piling faster than answers. Why him? Why Roosevelt High? Why now? At lunch, Jamal finds him again, this time waving his phone. "Yo, you gotta see this." On the screen, a news article. Whitestone Foundation announces surprise local visit, worth over $300 million, conducting community assessments, choosing candidate leaders. Malik's stomach drops when he sees the logo, gold and sharp, identical to the one embossed on Helen's folder. The very logo he saw as she clutched those documents in the diner. The intercom interrupts once more. "Malik Carter, please report to the office." Jamal whistles low. "Twice in 1 week? Man, they got plans for you." Malik's legs feel weak as he walks down the hall again. This time, there's no mistaking the stares. Everyone knows something unusual is happening. Teachers pause mid-lesson, students lean out of classrooms, whispers buzz like electricity. Through the office glass, Malik sees them again, Edgar and Helen. Not stranded travelers, not drenched strangers, but power incarnate. Postures straight, clothes immaculate. Documents spread across Principal Harris's desk, stamped with that gold emblem. The secretary opens the door. "They're waiting for you." As Malik steps inside, Edgar rises, extending his hand with quiet authority. "Welcome back, son. It's time we told you the truth." The words land like a gavel. The room feels less like an office and more like a courtroom, with Malik's future on trial. He swallows hard. If last night was a test, then today is the verdict. The office feels smaller than it should, the walls closing in as Edgar begins. No more disguises, no more tests. We are Harold and Helen Whitestone, founders of the Whitestone Foundation. For 3 days we've been in your city, observing, listening, confirming what people whispered about you. Malik doesn't sit. His chest rises and falls like he's been running. You played me, lied to me, made me feel pity for people who didn't need it. Helen leans forward, calm, deliberate. Did you feel pity, or did you feel compassion? Because compassion isn't about whether someone deserves help. It's about whether you choose to give it anyway. Principal Harris clears his throat. "Malik, I know this is overwhelming, but you need to hear them out." Edgar gestures toward the thick folder still spread across the desk. "This is your record. Grades, work history, references. We don't apologize for being thorough. We needed to know if you were the kind of person who helps when no one's watching. Malik scans the pages, his own handwriting glaring back at him. Essays, scholarship drafts, notes from teachers. He feels stripped bare, every private effort laid open like evidence in a trial. Why me? He asks again, voice sharp. There are hundreds of kids in this city. Why put me under a microscope? Edgar's gaze doesn't waver. Because your name came up again and again. From neighbors, from teachers, from strangers who have nothing to gain by praising you. Because when we staged that night at the diner, you chose to give away what cost you dearly. That one choice told us more than 1,000 surveys. Malik's anger spikes. You tested me with hunger. You wanted me to suffer. No, Helen says softly. We wanted to see if your character held when it was inconvenient. Anyone can be generous when it costs nothing. True integrity shows when it hurts. She opens her leather folder, sliding another sheet across the desk. A projection, charts, numbers that make Malik's head spin. This is what we're prepared to build, a development center in your neighborhood. Medical clinic, computer labs, job training programs, a library, a commercial kitchen, a $25 million investment. Malik stares at the glossy renderings, modern glass walls, clean streets, his own name across the facade. The Malik Carter Community Development Center. He whispers, "Why my name?" "Because communities rally behind names they trust," Edgar answers. "You already lead without a title. We're offering you the resources to make it official." Principal Harris leans closer. "Malik, I've seen kids rise and fall in this school for decades. No one has carried responsibility the way you have. They're right. You already are a leader." Malik shakes his head, the conflict tearing him apart. But all of this was built on lies. How can I trust anything you say? Edgar doesn't flinch. The deception ends here. What remains is choice. You can walk away. We'll respect that. Or you can step into something larger than yourself. Either way, your tuition is paid in full. You've earned that, Helen adds. But if you want the center, if you want to direct real change, you must want it for your community, not for yourself. That's the only condition. Malik's hands tremble as he grips the edge of the desk. The thought of Gloria finally receiving medical care without fear of cost, the idea of kids at Roosevelt using new computers instead of relics, the boarded-up mall transformed into hope. It's everything he's dreamed of, and it terrifies him. Silence stretches. The hum of the office clock fills the space between them. Malik feels like two voices are fighting inside. Him. One screams, "They lied. Don't trust them." The other whispers, "This is your chance to lift everyone you love." Finally, Edgar slides a business card across the desk. Heavy cardstock, gold emblem gleaming in the corner. Take 2 weeks. Visit our other centers. Ask questions. Decide for yourself. But remember, opportunity doesn't knock forever. Malik stares at the card without touching it. It feels like a key, but also a chain. He looks up, meeting Edgar's unblinking eyes. "If I say yes, how do I know I won't lose myself?" Edgar's reply is measured, solemn, because yesterday, with nothing to gain, you gave away your only meal. A soul built on that kind of choice doesn't break. It only grows stronger. The office air feels thick as Malik finally lowers into a chair. The blueprint still sprawls in front of him, his name printed bold across a future he never believed possible, but doubt still gnaws. He whispers the only question that matters now. Am I stepping into a miracle or into someone else's experiment? The days that follow feel like walking a tightrope. Malik carries the Whitestone business card in his pocket like it's radioactive. Every time he touches it, his chest tightens. Opportunity and betrayal, side by side on a piece of paper. At Roosevelt High, whispers chase him. Some students think he's in trouble. Others think he's suddenly rich. The truth is more complicated than either rumor dares. During lunch, Jamal corners him. "So what's the deal, man? Those people offering you money or something?" Malik hesitates. "They want to build a community center. Name it after me." Jamal laughs so loud heads turn. "Bro, you serious? You wash dishes for $8 an hour and now you're a CEO?" "It's not like that," Malik mutters. but part of him wonders if maybe it is like that. That evening, Gloria studies his face as he tells her about the offer. She listens with the same patience she's shown his whole life. They say they'll cover college, he explains. They say they'll build a clinic, job training programs, even fix up the old mall. Gloria folds her frail hands together. And what do they want from you? To lead, to represent. To not lose myself. Gloria's eyes soften. Baby, you can't control how people test you, but you can control how you answer. If their lie gives you truth to build on, maybe that's worth the sting. Malik shakes his head. I don't know if I can trust them. Her voice is steady despite the wheeze in her chest. Then don't trust them. Trust your own heart. Trust the boy who gave away his only meal. That's the one they see. That's the one you can't lose. The next morning, Malik finds himself staring at the abandoned mall on Riverside Avenue, its windows boarded. Weeds cracking the parking lot for years. It's been a monument to decline. He imagines glass walls reflecting, sunlight, children playing on safe grounds, neighbors, walking into a clinic instead of catching 2 buses to the next town. For a moment, he lets the dream breathe, then doubt slams back. What if it's just manipulation, another trick wrapped in gold? Back at the diner, Ray eyes him with suspicion. You've been off all week, Malik shrugs. Those people weren't who they said they were. Ray wipes his hands on a towel. Figured as much. Rich folks love running experiments on kids like us, Sandy interrupts, shaking her head. Not just rich folks. The Whitestone Foundation. I looked it up. They've built centers all over the country. Clinics, schools, programs that actually work. Ray grunts. Maybe, but nobody gives without strings. Malik absorbs both perspectives. Caught between them. That night, sleep dodges him again. Instead, he scrolls through articles on the Whitestone Foundation. Headlines, 200 million endowment. Community projects cut crime by 18%. Education programs triple graduation rates. The numbers are staggering. Real data, real impact. And every article echoes the same phrase. Local leadership chosen through character-based assessment. Malik stares at those words. Character-based assessment. It sounds noble. But he remembers the hunger, the humiliation, the staged desperation. Was that really the only way to measure character? 2 days later, he receives a letter at school, embossed with gold, delivered by hand. Inside, an invitation. Tour our centers. Meet our directors. Speak with those whose lives have been changed. Decide for yourself. Attached is a plane ticket. Chicago. Principal Harris beams when he sees it. This is once in a lifetime, Malik. You'll see what they've done. You'll understand it's real. But Malik's stomach twists. Chicago might hold answers, or more questions. That evening, Gloria sits him down. Go, she says simply. See with your own eyes. Don't let doubt blind you to possibility. Malik frowns. But what if I'm just another pawn? Then at least you'll know. And knowing beats wondering. Besides, you've been a pawn before. And every time you found a way to move like a king. Her words. Land with the weight of lived truth. She's seen systems bend and break people her whole life. And still she believes. Malik folds the letter carefully. He doesn't know if this path will free him or trap him. But the choice is coming faster than he can prepare. As he lies in bed, the city outside hums with its usual rhythm. Sirens, laughter, arguments drifting through thin walls. He clutches the invitation, whispering to the dark, Is this the chance we've been waiting for? Or just another test I'll regret? The airplane hums beneath Malik's seat, a vibration that rattles through his bones. He's never flown before, never even been inside an airport until this morning. Now he's 30,000 feet above farmland, clutching a folder stamped with the Whitestone emblem. Next to him, a window shows endless clouds, but Malik sees only faces. Gloria coughing in her recliner. Jamal laughing at his peanut butter sandwiches. Sandy whispering that something about the old couple felt off. Every memory weighs against the promise of what lies ahead. When the plane lands in Chicago, a driver in a black suit holds a placard. Mr. Malik Carter. The title startles him. He's used to being the dishwasher kid, not Mister, the Whitestone Community Center rises like a cathedral of glass and steel. Sunlight floods through vast windows onto a lobby buzzing with life. Children dart toward. Classrooms, adults huddle in job training workshops. In one wing, a clinic bustles with nurses and patients. Everywhere Malik looks, need meets resource. A director named Ms. Alvarez greets him. She's warm but professional, guiding him through the facility. This clinic served over 200 patients last year, she explains. Diabetes management, prenatal care, counseling. People who used to wait months for appointments now get help in days. Malik studies the numbers posted on the wall. Graduation rates up 27%, unemployment down 15%, youth arrests cut nearly in half. These aren't just buildings, Ms. Alvarez says. They're engines. They turn despair into momentum. Later, Malik sits in on a staff meeting. Case. Workers discuss outreach strategies. Teachers share success stories. A former gang member now teaches computer. Coding. A single mother now runs the center's catering business. Every testimony pounds against Malik's skepticism. The data is undeniable. The transformation is visible. But his chest still aches with doubt because he remembers how the Whitestones tested him by hunger, by humiliation. During a break, he asks Ms. Alvarez quietly, "Did they test you too?" Her eyes soften. "Yes. Different city, different year. They staged a crisis. I didn't know who they were. I thought it was just life being cruel again." But how I responded. That's what got me here. Her honesty shakes him. So it wasn't just him, it's their method. A pattern, a way to measure what can't be measured by resumes alone. That night, Malik sits in the guest room of a modest hotel provided by the foundation. Through the window, Chicago glows, a skyline of possibility. But inside, his thoughts spiral. If opportunity comes only after deception, is it truly opportunity? Or manipulation disguised as generosity? He remembers Edgar's words. Anyone can give when it costs nothing. He remembers Gloria's voice. Trust the boy who gave away his only meal. And he wonders if maybe the Whitestones' lie was less about cruelty, more about forcing truth to surface. The next day, they fly him to Atlanta. Another center. Another wave of impact. A computer lab where young adults earn tech certifications. A library filled with students who look like him. Studying for futures no one thought possible. He watches a boy no older than 12 explain to his mother how he coded a game. The pride on her face mirrors something Malik longs to see on Gloria's. Finally, in Denver he meets a young director only 5 years older than himself. She smiles knowingly. I hated them at first too, felt used. But then I realized they weren't testing me for their sake. They were testing to see if I could survive the weight of leading people who will test you every single day. Communities don't follow talk. They follow character. Her words sit heavy, but they ring with truth. On the flight back home, Malik presses his forehead to the window. Clouds drift below like soft mountains. His mind replays every center, every statistic, every face. He knows now the offer is real. The question isn't whether Whitestone can deliver. The question is whether he can. When the plane lands, Jamal is waiting outside the terminal. Wide-eyed, "Man, you flew across the country? Tell me everything." Malik only shakes his head. Not yet. I need to figure out if saying yes means saving my community or losing myself. That night, Gloria asks only one question. After everything you've seen, do you believe change is possible? Malik swallows. Yes, I believe it now. Then the rest is just courage, baby. And courage is nothing but faith on its feet. Her words echo long into the silence. For the first time, Malik senses that the choice before him isn't just about him at all. It's about whether a single act of kindness can scale into thousands, if he's brave enough to let it. Malik stands outside the abandoned Riverside Mall again, the winter wind cutting through his jacket. The place looks worse than he remembered. Graffiti scrawled across boarded windows, trash drifting like tumbleweed. But this time he doesn't just see decay, he sees blueprints. He sees possibility. The Whitestone proposal is still in his backpack, a $25 million investment, scholarships, internships, future that feels like it belongs to someone else. He whispers to himself, "Why me?" The echo bounces off broken glass. He doesn't have an answer. Inside Roosevelt High, whispers continue. Teachers glance at him differently. Students ask questions he doesn't know how to answer. "You rich now? You gonna be mayor? You leaving us behind?" Malik forces a smile, but inside, the tension grows. He hasn't accepted anything yet. He hasn't decided, and the weight of expectation already crushes him. During lunch, Jamal slams down his tray. "You look like you carrying the world." "Man," Malik exhales. "Maybe I am." "Then drop it for 5 minutes. Eat your sandwich, but even peanut butter tastes heavy when your future's on trial." That evening, Gloria sits at the kitchen table with him. The oxygen tank hums softly beside her chair. "Baby, you've been pacing all week. Talk to me." Malik spreads the documents across the table. Blueprints, scholarship letters, financial breakdowns. The words blur together. They want to build all this. They want me to lead it. Gloria studies the papers slowly, like scripture. Finally, she says, "Looks like a miracle." "It looks like a trap," Malik mutters. "They lied to me, Grandma. Pretended to be poor, desperate, hungry. How can I trust people who start with lies?" Gloria reaches across, her hands thin but steady. "Did their lie change your choice?" "No. Then it didn't change who you are." "They saw that. Maybe that's what matters more than the lie itself." Her words press deep, but Malik isn't ready to accept them. The next morning, Principal Harris pulls him aside. "Malik, the Whitestones are serious. They've already purchased the Riverside property. This isn't a maybe. It's happening with or without your name." Malik blinks. "With or without me?" "Yes. They want you because they believe you can inspire others. But the project itself will move forward regardless. The revelation stings, so he isn't indispensable. The center doesn't hinge on him, but his role, his leadership, would shape what it becomes." Principal Harris lowers his voice. "I've never seen an opportunity like this, son, but I've also never seen you this conflicted. Remember, integrity isn't about perfect circumstances. It's about what you do in imperfect ones." That night, Malik returns to the diner. Sandy slides him a plate without asking. Ray raises an eyebrow. "So, Mr. Community Leader, you made up your mind yet?" Malik shakes his head. "Still thinking," Ray scoffs. "Thinking? They're dangling gold in front of you. Take it before they change their minds." Sandy frowns. "Or make sure you're not just a face for their PR machine. Don't sell your soul for a building with your name on it." The clash of voices leaves Malik spinning. One friend urging speed, the other urging caution, and somewhere between them, his own voice drowned out. Later that night, Malik writes in his notebook. Not homework, not essays, just raw thoughts. They lied. But so does life. They offered hope. But is it hope or control? If I say yes, I could change everything. If I say no, I might regret it forever. He closes the notebook. But the questions remain open wounds. On Sunday morning, Gloria insists they walk to church together. Her steps are slow, labored, but determined. The congregation buzzes with warmth and curiosity. People pat Malik on the back, whispering blessings, asking if the rumors are true. The pastor's sermon isn't about Malik, but it cuts straight through him anyway. Sometimes God sends opportunity disguised as burden. Sometimes blessing comes dressed as trial. The question isn't, is it easy? The question is, are you faithful enough to carry it? Malik grips the pew until his knuckles whiten. The words feel aimed directly at him, faithful enough to carry it. But what if carrying it breaks him? That night, as he walks home beneath a sky smeared with stars, Malik whispers the question that won't let him rest. Am I stepping into leadership? Or into chains I'll never escape? The wind doesn't answer, but tomorrow he'll have to. The next week moves like a storm Malik can't outrun. Letters arrive from the Whitestones, formal and polite. Invitations to strategy meetings, outlines of construction phases, each page heavy with possibility and pressure. At school, Teachers treat him like a chosen one. Students either envy him or doubt him. And everywhere he goes, whispers follow. He's the one they picked. He's gonna be rich. He's already changed. Malik wants to scream, "I haven't decided yet," but he swallows the words, trapped by expectation. One afternoon, Jamal finds him sitting alone in the library, books spread across the table. But Malik isn't reading. He's staring at the blueprints again. "They already broke ground," Jamal says quietly. Malik looks up, startled. "What?" Pete told me. He saw trucks by the mall, excavators, surveyors. "It's happening, bro, with or without you." The realization cuts deeper than he expected. If he walks away, the center still rises. But without him, who will shape it? Who will make sure it serves the community, not just the foundation's reputation? Jamal nudges him. "Look, man, I don't trust rich folks either. But if they're building this thing anyway, wouldn't you rather be inside steering than outside complaining?" The question lingers long after Jamal leaves. That evening, Malik visits the riverside site himself. The air smells of diesel and damp earth. Orange vests move in the distance. Machines claw at the soil. The skeleton of change is already forming. A worker nods at him. "Big project. Gonna bring jobs, man." Malik forces a smile. But inside, the conflict roars louder. This isn't hypothetical anymore. It's real, and his community will bear the consequences, good or bad. Back home, Gloria notices his silence. "Baby, you saw the site, didn't you?" Malik nods. "They've already started." "Then your choice is clearer than you think." He frowns. "Clearer. Grandma, it feels messier than ever." Gloria leans forward, eyes sharp despite the fatigue in her body. "You can't stop the tide, but you can decide whether to drown or to steer the boat. They'll build with or without you. But with you, maybe it's more than a building. Maybe it's a future." Her words strike something deep. Maybe leadership isn't about clean beginnings. Maybe it's about stepping into the mess and shaping it anyway. The following day, Malik attends the foundation's briefing at a downtown hotel. The ballroom is filled with suits, charts, and polished smiles. He feels like a foreigner in his thrift store jacket. Edgar greets him warmly. "Malik, I trust you've seen the progress." Malik nods stiffly. "You didn't wait for my answer." Edgar's expression is calm, measured. "The community can't wait. But whether you lead, that remains your choice." Helen adds, "We don't want a puppet. We want a partner. But you must step forward willingly." Their words sound sincere. But Malik can't forget the hunger test. The staged wallet, the manipulation. He blurts, "How do I know this isn't just another performance?" The room stills. Edgar meets his eyes. "Because now, Malik, we're not watching. We're inviting. The script is yours to write." After the meeting, Malik steps outside into the cold night. Downtown lights glitter, but he feels heavy, torn. On one hand, distrust coils in his gut. On the other, images of his neighborhood transformed blaze in his mind. Gloria in a new clinic. Kids on Elm Street logging into new computers. Families learning trades that secure futures. He whispers to the wind, "Is leadership about trust? Or about responsibility?" The city hums around him, offering no answer. The following Sunday, Pastor Green corners him after service. "Son, I heard you're wrestling with a mighty choice." Malik sighs. "Yes, sir." The pastor lays a hand on his shoulder. "Remember, Moses didn't ask for the staff. David didn't ask for the crown. Sometimes the call comes before the courage. You don't wait until you're ready. You step forward, and readiness grows with the walk." The words echo like thunder in Malik's chest. The call comes before the courage. That night, Malik opens his notebook again. This time, his writing is steady. "They lied to test me, but life lies too. What matters is not the test. It's the answer. If I step in, I can shape the center. If I refuse, others will shape it without me. The question is not, do I trust them? The question is, do I trust myself?" He closes the notebook, breathes deep, and finally feels the stirrings of direction. Before we move forward, take a moment. If Malik's struggle, His questions about trust and responsibility have touched you. If you believe stories like his deserve to be told with truth and hope, then subscribe to this channel. Your support helps us keep bringing these voices, these choices into the light, because Malik's journey is far from over. In fact, what comes next will test him and his community like never before. Winter settles heavy over the city. Snow piles along sidewalks, muffling footsteps, making even familiar streets feel strange. Malik walks home from the diner, collar up, breath clouding in the frozen air. The Whitestone card burns in his pocket, heavier than ever. The Riverside site is buzzing now. Steel beams rise against the gray sky. What was once a ruin is becoming a skeleton of possibility. Neighbors gather at the fence to watch, some curious, some skeptical. Maybe they'll really do it, one mutters. Or maybe it's just another promise that fades, another replies. Malik hears both voices in his head, because both feel true. At home, Gloria sits bundled under blankets. Her health is slipping faster than she admits, but she refuses to complain. When Malik tells her about the construction, she smiles faintly. Sounds like hope looks taller than weeds now. He wants to believe her, but he also knows hope can break a heart when it collapses. One evening, Edgar himself arrives at the diner, no disguises this time, polished suit, commanding presence. The entire room falls silent as he takes a booth. Ray mutters under his breath. "Here comes the puppet master." Sandy elbows him, whispering, "Shh." Edgar motions Malik over. "Sit with me, son." The tension in the diner is sharp. Malik slides into the booth cautiously. Edgar folds his hands. The foundation is moving forward. But the question remains, will you shape this future, or let others decide it for you? Malik studies his face. There's no test this time. No fake hunger, no broken car, only direct challenge. Later that night, Malik tells Gloria about the encounter. He said, "It's my decision. But it feels like no matter what, the weight is mine." Gloria nods slowly. "That's what leadership is, baby. Carrying weight that was never fair in the first place. And turning it into strength for others." Her words cut, deeper than any blueprint. Because they remind him this isn't about buildings. It's about people. At school, Principal Harris calls a special assembly. The Whitestone Foundation has pledged scholarships for 10 students from Roosevelt. High gasps ripple through the auditorium. Names are read aloud. Lives change in real time. Malik watches the faces of classmates, tears, laughter, disbelief. This is what the foundation can do. This is real. And yet, when the applause fades, his chest still tightens with fear. Because every gift carries responsibility. And responsibility can suffocate if you're not ready. That evening, Jamal finds him staring at the half-built center. "You keep waiting for someone to prove you wrong," Jamal says. "But what if they prove you right? What if this really is your shot?" Malik doesn't answer, because the truth is, he's terrified of being right, terrified of stepping into something so big that failure would ripple across an entire community. One night, Malik dreams again. This time, the blueprint walls close in like a cage, the gold emblem glows like fire, and Gloria's voice echoes, "Trust the boy who gave away his only meal." He wakes drenched in sweat. The words etched deeper than fear. The next morning, Malik stands before the rising skeleton of the community center. Snowflakes swirl around steel beams. Children press their faces against the fence. Watching, hope and doubt mix in their eyes. Malik whispers, almost to himself, "If I step forward, it's not about me anymore. It's about them." And for the first time, the weight feels less like chains and more like a calling. The cold doesn't stop progress. By late February, the Riverside lot hums with noise. Cranes swing steel, concrete mixers churn. The old mall's bones vanish, replaced by beams that stretch skyward like hope itself. Malik stands at the edge of the site almost every evening. Some nights he feels proud, other nights sick with doubt. The future is rising in front of him, but it's a future that demands his choice. One Saturday, the Whitestones invite him to a private meeting downtown. This time, no disguises, no games. The conference room overlooks the city skyline. Glittering under winter sun, on the table, contracts, charts, financial projections. Helen begins. Malik, the center is moving forward. We need leadership. We want it to be you. Her tone is gentle but firm. Not because you're perfect, because you're proven. You chose kindness when it cost you. Edgar adds, but leadership comes with conflict. There will be politicians who resist, businesses who doubt, neighbors who fear change. You must be willing to stand in the storm. Malik swallows hard. What if I fail? Edgar's blue eyes pierce him. Then you will fail while trying to lift others. That is not failure, it's courage. That evening, Malik pours it all out to Gloria. They want me to sign. To step in now before construction finishes? Gloria listens, hands folded, breathing shallow but steady. Baby, you've been carrying this choice like a burden. Maybe it's not a burden. Maybe it's a door. He shakes his head. What if it's the wrong door? Her voice softens. Then God will teach you through it. But if you never walk through, you'll never know. Don't let fear write your story. Her words land like stones in still water, rippling through him. The following week, conflict explodes. Local newspapers run headlines. Riverside Project raises questions. Some community leaders claim the foundation is exploiting the neighborhood for publicity. Others worry about gentrification pushing families out. At school, students debate in the hallways. Some cheer the center, others sneer. It's not for us, it's for their reputation. Malik finds himself caught in the crossfire. Voices demand answers he doesn't have. He wonders if the Whitestones expected this storm all along. One night, Sandy pulls him aside at the diner. You think leadership is about applause? She says. It's not. It's about standing steady when half the crowd boos. If you can't take that, don't do it. But if you can, maybe you're exactly what this place needs. Her blunt honesty shakes him more than any polished speech. The next morning, Principal Harris calls him into the office again, on. The desk sits an envelope. Inside, a formal scholarship contract. Full tuition. Room.board.living. Expenses. It's yours whether or not you lead the center. Harris explains. They kept their word. But Malik, understand? College will shape you. The center will demand you. You can't stay half in and half out forever. Malik stares at the document. It feels both like freedom and like a chain. That evening, he walks the construction site alone. Floodlights blaze against unfinished steel. The skeletal frame looms above him. And for the first time, Malik doesn't just see what could be. He sees what will be, with or without him. Children will come here for tutoring. Families will line up for medical care. Neighbors will train for jobs that lift them out of poverty. And if he walks away, his community will still benefit. But if he steps forward, maybe it becomes more than a building. Maybe it becomes a movement. Snow begins to fall, soft flakes clinging to his jacket. Malik whispers into the cold. Am I ready for this? Or is readiness just another word for fear? Behind him, a voice answers, It's Jamal, hands shoved deep in his coat pockets. Bro, nobody's ever ready. You think Big Mike was ready to run a diner? You think Gloria was ready to raise you alone? Readiness ain't real. Choices are. Malik stares at him. Jamal shrugs. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. The only thing real is what you do right now. The floodlights buzz. Snow thickens. The half-built center towers above, demanding a decision. Malik breathes deep, heart pounding. Maybe Jamal's right. Maybe readiness is a myth. Maybe courage is nothing more than stepping forward while scared. And as he looks up at the rising beams, he feels something shift inside. Not the end of doubt, but the beginning of resolve. Spring arrives, and with it, pressure. The Riverside Project dominates local news. Every headline carries Malik's name, though he hasn't signed anything yet. Dishwasher turned director. Teen faces. Multi-million-dollar decision. Some articles praise him. Others question his readiness. The spotlight burns. And Malik feels like he's standing on trial before the whole city. At Roosevelt High, Students bombard him with questions. Are you really running it? Can you get me a job? Will you be too rich to hang out with us? Malik forces a smile, but inside the tension coils tighter. He isn't leading yet. He isn't even sure he wants to. One evening, Malik returns to the diner. Big Mike, usually gruff and guarded, surprises him with a plate of food on the house. You're making us proud. Kid, Mike mutters. Malik stares at him. I haven't done anything yet. Mike shakes his head. Don't sell yourself short. Sometimes showing up when the world expects you to. Disappear, that's already something. Sandy slides into the booth across from him. But Mike's wrong about one thing, she says softly. Pride doesn't build centers. Decisions do, and you've been avoiding one. Her words cut, because they're true. Later that night, Malik walks home under the hum of streetlights. He stops at Gloria's porch, finds her gazing into the night sky. Baby, she says without looking at him, you've been waiting for certainty. But certainty is a luxury leaders never get. He sinks onto the step beside her. What if I make the wrong choice? Gloria takes his hand, fragile but firm. Then you'll live with it, and you'll make the next one better. That's how leadership works. Not perfection, persistence. Her words linger like warmth against the cold spring breeze. The next morning, Edgar calls. Malik, the board is meeting in 1 week. We want your answer then. No more delays. His tone is steady, but beneath it Malik hears urgency, pressure disguised as patience. That afternoon, Principal Harris pulls Malik aside again. I won't tell you what to do, but I will tell you this. Once the board meets, the path will move fast. Either you're in or you're not. Malik nods numbly. 1 week, 7 days to decide the shape of his life. On Friday, conflict erupts at a community meeting. Residents pack the school gym, demanding answers about the Riverside Center. Some cheer the promise of jobs and health care. Others shout fears of rising rents, of outsiders taking control. The tension crackles like lightning. Finally, someone yells from the crowd, Where's Malik Carter? Isn't this supposed to be his project? Dozens of eyes turn toward him. His pulse hammers. He didn't expect to be called out, but there he is, standing, heart racing, forced into the center of the storm. He steps to the microphone, voice shaking at first, but steadying with each word. I don't have all the answers. I haven't signed anything yet. But I promise you this, if I step into this, it won't be for glory. It'll be for us. For every kid walking home hungry, for every grandmother skipping medicine, for every neighbor who deserves more than broken promises. The room quiets. For a moment, the storm eases, but Malik knows calm won't last. Conflict will return. It always does. That night, Jamal claps him on the back. Bro, you killed it! People needed to hear that. Malik shakes his head. I only said what I felt. Doesn't mean I'm ready. Jamal grins. News flash, nobody's ready. But you sound more ready than anyone else in that room. As the week counts down, Malik finds himself drawn again to the construction site. Steel and concrete climb higher each day. Proof that change doesn't wait for permission. He watches kids press their faces to the fence, eyes wide with wonder. One boy whispers, That's gonna be ours someday. The words pierce Malik, because in that moment, he realizes this isn't about whether he's ready, it's about whether they deserve a leader who won't walk away. The deadline looms. 1 week, shrinking to 1 day. Tomorrow, he must face the board. Tomorrow, he must decide. Standing before the glowing skeleton of the future, Malik whispers to himself, This isn't about a name on a building. It's about a choice I can't undo. And somewhere deep inside, resolve begins to take root. The morning of the board meeting arrives. Malik barely slept. His hands tremble as he buttons the one clean shirt he owns. Gloria squeezes his shoulder. You don't have to be perfect today. You just have to be honest. At the hotel downtown, the Whitestone Foundation Board gathers in a polished conference room, 12 members. Suits, laptops, eyes sharp with expectation. Edgar begins. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Malik Carter, the candidate we've been assessing. Today he decides whether to accept leadership of the Riverside Center. The words slam into Malik like a verdict. Not discussion, decision. Helen gestures for him to sit. Malik, you've seen our centers. You've met our directors. You've watched your own community respond. Tell us, are you ready to step forward? For a moment, silence. Malik's throat tightens. Every doubt floods back. The staged hunger, the lies, the fear of failure. But then Gloria's words echo in his mind. Not perfection, persistence. He rises slowly. I don't know if anyone can ever be ready for this. But I know my community deserves better. If I take this on, it won't be for money or a name on glass. It'll be for the people who've been told wait their whole lives. I can't promise perfection. I can only promise persistence. The room stills. One board member leans back, murmuring, well said. Another nods. Edgar's face softens, pride flickering in his eyes. But then, resistance. A tall man at the far end frowns. With respect, this is a teenager. We're talking about a $25 million project. Isn't this too much responsibility for someone his age? Murmurs ripple across the table. Malik's chest tightens. They're questioning him openly like he's not in the room. Helen cuts in firmly. Character is not measured in years. It's measured in choices. Malik has made choices many adults would fail. Still, the doubt hangs heavy. Malik swallows hard and speaks again. You're right. I'm young. But youth is what connects me to the kids who need this. To the families who feel ignored. I don't bring decades of experience. I bring lived reality. If that's not enough, then say so. But don't say my community deserves to wait because I'm still learning. The words leave his mouth before he can second-guess them. The room falls silent again. Finally, Edgar clears his throat. I think we've heard enough. Malik, your courage speaks louder than credentials. The decision is yours. Sign and the center bears your leadership. Decline and it moves forward without your voice. Helen slides a pen across the table. The contract lies open. His name already printed in bold. Malik stares at it. It feels less like paper, more like a doorway. Behind him, doubts whisper. Ahead, responsibility roars. He thinks of Jamal's laughter, Sandy's, honesty, Big Mike's respect. His classmates' hunger for opportunity. Gloria's fragile hands, holding faith stronger than steel. He takes the pen. Signs. The room exhales. Applause. Ripples. Edgar clasps his hand firmly. Welcome. Director Carter. The title hits like thunder. Director at 17. That night, Malik sits on Gloria's porch. Stars scatter the sky like promises. She listens quietly as he tells her what happened. Finally, she smiles through tears. Director Carter, has a nice ring, doesn't it? Malik shakes his head, overwhelmed. It feels heavy. Her grip tightens on his hand. Good. If leadership ever feels light, you're not carrying enough. The next morning, the news spreads. Local teen to lead. $25 million community center reporters flood. Roosevelt High. Cameras chase Malik through hallways. Some classmates cheer, others mutter jealousy. Teachers beam. Principal Harris simply nods, pride shining in his eyes. At the diner, Big Mike places a fresh plate in front of him. On the house, Director. But don't let the title change you, Sandy adds with a wink. And don't forget who kept your coffee warm when you were still just a dishwasher. Laughter breaks the tension. For a moment, Malik feels like himself again. But late that night, as he studies the contract alone, the reality settles deeper. Deadlines, budgets, staffing, expectations. This isn't just a title. It's a storm he has chosen to walk into. Malik exhales slowly, whispering into the quiet room, God, if this is my path, make me strong enough to walk it. Outside, the half-built center looms against the night sky, waiting, watching, demanding. The weeks after Malik signs feel like stepping onto a moving train. The Whitestone Foundation launches into overdrive. Architects refine blueprints. Contractors swarm the site. Donors line up, eager to attach their names to the rising project, Malik. Meanwhile, juggles school, work at the diner, and now board meetings. Some days he feels like 3 different people wearing borrowed clothes. Student.dishwasher.director. Each role demands a piece of him he isn't sure he can give. At Roosevelt High, the pressure intensifies. Students corner him in hallways. When can I apply for jobs? Will there be sports programs? Can you get my cousin a scholarship? Malik stammers through answers, but truth is, he doesn't know yet. Every question reminds him of the weight pressing on his shoulders. In English class, Mrs. Patterson catches his eye. Remember what I told you, Malik? You have a gift with words. Don't let numbers and titles drown your voice. Speak truth. People will follow it. Her reminder steadies him, because if there's one thing he can carry into this new world, it's honesty. At the diner, Sandy leans across the counter. You look exhausted. Malik rubs his temples. I am. You don't have to be everything to everyone, she says. Pick your battles. Lead where it matters most. Big Mike grunts from the grill. And don't forget to eat. Leaders who starve don't last long. The simple advice feels heavier than strategy memos, because it's real. Because it comes from people who know struggle without blueprints or budgets. One Saturday, the foundation hosts a press event at the Riverside site. Cameras flash as Edgar and Helen speak about transformation and investment. Then they introduce Malik, standing before microphones. He feels his throat lock. Hundreds of eyes, reporters scribbling, neighbors waiting. He grips the podium. I grew up 3 blocks from here. I watched this mall die. I watched families lose jobs, kids lose hope, streets lose safety. And I've dreamed of something better ever since. This center is not about charity. It's about justice. It's about giving back what was stolen. Opportunity, dignity, possibility. The words flow stronger with each sentence. Applause swells, flashbulbs pop. And for the first time, Malik doesn't feel like a teenager pretending. He feels like a leader stepping into his own voice. But with attention comes attack. That evening, a local blogger posts an article. Whitestone puppet, teen director, just a face for corporate control. The comments section erupts. Some defend him, others mock him. Malik scrolls late into the night, each insult carving deeper. Finally, Jamal grabs the phone from his hand. Stop feeding yourself poison. Haters gonna hate. You knew this wasn't gonna be easy, Malik mutters. I didn't know it would feel like this. Then learn fast, Jamal replies, because your community needs thick skin and steady hands. The next week, Malik attends his first full strategy session. Budgets, hiring timelines, program proposals. The language feels foreign, millions of dollars tossed around like pocket change. At one point, a consultant suggests replacing job training with a tech innovation. Hub to attract investors. Malik slams his hand on the table before he can stop. Himself. No, my community doesn't need a hub for outsiders. We need skills for neighbors. Construction, healthcare, culinary. Real jobs, real paychecks. The room falls silent. Edgar studies him. Finally, he nods, spoken like a director who remembers why he's here. Relief floods Malik, but also fear, because speaking truth in these rooms means making enemies too. That night, Gloria asks about the meeting. He tells her everything, his outburst, the silence, the nod. She smiles faintly. Good. A leader who never says no isn't leading. He's just following louder voices. Her approval strengthens him more than any headline. But as spring turns to summer, pressure mounts, deadlines tighten, criticism grows, and though the steel frame rises higher, Malik feels the weight of another storm brewing, one that won't test his kindness, but his endurance. Summer heat presses heavy on the city. The Riverside site buzzes with noise. But tension buzzes louder inside Malik's chest. He's no longer just watching beams rise. He's expected to make decisions, real ones, decisions with consequences. At the latest board meeting, a developer proposes cutting the medical clinic to reduce costs. We can scale back. Focus on education first, healthcare later. Malik feels his jaw tighten. My grandmother skipped doctor visits for years because the nearest clinic was 12 miles away. Healthcare isn't optional. It's survival. The room shifts uncomfortably. One board member counters, compromise keeps projects alive. Malik shoots back. Compromise also keeps people sick. If this center doesn't heal bodies as well as minds, then what are we building? The silence that follows is thick, charged. Edgar finally speaks. Point taken. The clinic stays. Relief washes through Malik. But it's edged with fear, because every win feels like a battle, and he wonders how many battles he can fight before the board loses patience. That night, Jamal catches him pacing outside the diner. You look like you fought a war. I did, Malik mutters. Over a clinic. Jamal shakes his head, grinning. Man, you're out here fighting rich people with pens. Who even does that? Malik sighs. Someone who doesn't want to bury his grandma before her time? The grin fades. Jamal claps him on the back, then keeps swinging. You ain't alone, but not all voices are supportive. At a community meeting, a man Malik has never seen before stands up. You think you're saving us? You're just a face on their brochure. When the Whitestones leave, we'll still be poor, and you'll be gone too. The words slice. Some neighbors nod in agreement, others cross their arms, waiting for Malik's answer. He takes a breath. I can't promise this center fixes everything, but I can promise I'll be here, fighting for it, fighting for us. Not as their face, as your neighbor. Applause follows, but so does murmured doubt. Malik realizes leadership isn't about winning everyone. It's about standing steady when some walk away. At home, Gloria's health worsens. She hides it, but Malik sees the pain in her steps, the way her breath catches. One evening, she grips his hand. Baby, don't lose yourself in all this noise. Remember why you said yes? He nods, though part of him fears he's already losing track. By July, the steel skeleton becomes walls. Rooms take shape. Malik walks the site with architects, trying to imagine futures inside bare concrete. Classrooms echo with drills and hammers. One day, they'll echo with laughter, debate, hope. But as he walks, his phone buzzes with another headline. Budget overruns threaten Riverside project. Reporters question if the young director is in over his head. Malik stuffs the phone back in his pocket, throat tight. Doubt stalks him at every turn. At the diner, Sandy notices his silence. What's wrong now? Everything feels too big, he admits. She leans closer, then stops looking at everything. Look at one thing. One kid who'll get a scholarship. One family who will see a doctor. One grandma who won't skip medicine. Fight for one, and the many will follow. Her words land like a lifeline, because Malik remembers. That's how it started. One meal, one choice, one act of kindness. A week later, he faces another board clash. This time, they suggest outsourcing cafeteria services to a corporate chain. Malik shakes his head. No. That kitchen trains locals. It creates jobs here. Outsourcing erases that. The room resists again. Numbers, profit margins, efficiency. But Malik doesn't back down. If efficiency means erasing opportunity, then it's not efficient. It's exploitation, Helen smiles faintly. Pride flickering in her eyes. The board concedes. The kitchen stays community-owned. Malik leaves the meeting drained but determined. Every victory costs. But every cost feels worth it. That night, Gloria calls him into the living room. Her voice is weak, but her eyes burn strong. Baby, I've watched you carry weights grown men would drop. Don't let them crush you. Let them shape you. Malik sinks to his knees beside her. I'm scared I'll fail. She cups his face with trembling hands. Failure isn't falling. It's refusing to stand back up. And I didn't raise you to stay down. Her faith steadies him more than any contract, more than any applause. As summer deepens, the Riverside Center rises higher. So does Malik's resolve. He's no longer just reacting. He's choosing, fighting, shaping. But he knows the hardest storm hasn't hit yet. And when it comes, it won't just test his leadership. It will test the very character that started it all. Autumn drapes the city in amber light, but Malik feels shadows lengthening. The Riverside Center stands nearly complete. Glass walls shimmer. Hallways echo with the smell of fresh paint. It should feel triumphant. Instead, Malik senses a storm tightening around him. Whispers, spread first, that the budget is drained, That. Deadlines will be missed. That. Malik is more mascot than leader. Then headlines. Sharpen the rumors. Teen director under fire, Riverside. Project faces collapse. At school. Students glance at him with unease. Some still cheer. Others mutter, "Guess the haters were right." Malik walks faster through hallways. Heart pounding with shame he can't explain. One evening he finds Jamal outside the diner, scrolling on his phone. "Man, you seen this? They're saying millions disappeared." Malik shakes his head. "I haven't stolen a dime." "Doesn't matter what's true," Jamal mutters. "Matters what people believe." The words sting, because belief, not facts, is what built trust, and belief can break faster than glass. At the next board meeting, Malik demands answers. Where are these stories coming from? A consultant clears his throat. Leaks. Misinterpretations. Maybe even sabotage. But perception is dangerous, Malik. One wrong move, and confidence vanishes. Malik slams the table. My community trusted me. I won't let them think I sold them out. Helen meets his eyes calmly. Then you'll need to fight for truth. Not with anger. With transparency. That night, Gloria listens quietly as Malik paces the living room. They think I'm a fraud, Grandma. She taps her cane gently. Then show them you're not. Shadows can't survive sunlight. Her words settle deep. The next morning, Malik calls a press conference at the construction site. Reporters crowd the half-finished lobby. Cameras click. Malik steps to the microphone. Palms damp, but voice steady. There are rumors of corruption, of money lost. Let me be clear. Every dollar is accounted for. I invite auditors, community leaders, anyone who wants proof, come and see. This center isn't mine. It's yours. And I will not let lies bury what we've built. Silence follows. Then a ripple of applause from neighbors standing at the back, arms folded but eyes softening. It's not victory, but it's a beginning. Days later, evidence emerges. The so-called missing millions were tied up in delayed grants and contractor invoices. No theft, no fraud, just bureaucracy. Still, the damage lingers. Trust, once cracked, doesn't heal overnight. Malik sits in his room, staring at the ceiling. I wanted to build hope. Instead, I gave them more reasons to doubt. Jamal barges in, dropping onto the bed. Bro, you didn't create doubt. You just woke up the people who profit from it. You scared them. That means you're doing something right. But the storm hasn't passed. At the next community meeting, voices clash louder than ever. Some accuse Malik of being a pawn, others defend him fiercely. The gym buzzes like a battlefield. Finally, a woman stands Mrs. Carter from the corner store. I've watched this boy carry groceries for neighbors. Tutor kids. Walk home in the rain so his grandmother could eat. If you can't trust Malik Carter, then who can you trust? Her words ignite the room. Applause erupts. Even skeptics hesitate. For the first time in weeks, Malik feels air in his lungs again. Later, Gloria smiles faintly when Malik tells her, See? Truth has a way of finding its voice. You just had to hold steady long enough to hear it. But deep down, Malik knows this storm was only a rehearsal. Bigger trials wait ahead. Tests not of kindness, but of endurance, integrity, and sacrifice. He whispers to himself before sleep. If one act of kindness brought me here, then one storm won't end me. I'll stand. And outside his window, the Riverside Center glows faintly under construction lights, unfinished, unbroken, and waiting for its true test. Winter arrives with sharp winds and sharper deadlines. The Riverside Center nears completion, but Malik's spirit feels worn. He's fought leaks, rumors, and resistance. Now the final battle looms, not against outsiders, but against fear itself. The ribbon-cutting ceremony is scheduled for January. Dignitaries confirm attendance. The governor, state senators, foundation executives, and, most importantly, neighbors who've waited years for this day. But a week before the event, disaster strikes. A burst pipe floods the new medical wing. Contractors argue over repairs. Costs spike again. Critics swarm online. Another failure. Teen director in over his head. Malik spends nights on site, boots soaked, hands blistered, trying to help crews salvage what they can. Jamal finds him slumped against a wall at dawn. "You can't carry this whole building on your shoulders," Malik mutters. "Feels like I already am." 3 days before the ceremony, Malik calls an emergency board session. Voices clash. Cancel the event. Delay the launch, save face. Malik listens, then stands. "No, we don't delay hope. We don't tell sick neighbors to wait because water filled a hallway. We cut the ribbon, even if half the lights don't work, even if I have to mop floors myself." The room falls silent. Then Helen smiles slowly. Director Carter just gave his first real order. The morning of the ribbon cutting, snow blankets the city. Neighbors gather anyway, huddled in coats. Breath clouding the air, Malik steps onto the stage, heart hammering. Behind him, the gleaming facade shines. Though scaffolding still clings to one side, it isn't perfect, but it's real. He grips the microphone. 2 years ago, I gave away a meal I'd saved for 3 days. I didn't know it was a test. I didn't know it would bring me here. What I did know was simple. Kindness matters, even when no one is watching. Today, this building stands as proof. Proof that kindness can multiply into clinics, classrooms, and futures. Proof that a community written off as hopeless can rise. The crowd erupts. Applause echoes off the glass. Gloria wipes tears from her cheeks. Jamal whoops loud enough to rattle the stage. Malik lifts the oversized scissors. The ribbon falls. And with it, a new chapter begins. Inside, neighbors explore the center for the first. Children race to computer labs, glowing with new screens. Elders line up for checkups at the clinic. Job seekers tour classrooms, filled with training equipment. The air hums with possibility. Sandy whispers to Big Mike, "Can you believe it?" From diner plates to this, Big Mike grunts. But his eyes shine. Kid earned it. That evening, Malik sits in his new office. Photos line the wall. Neighbors he grew up with, teachers who believed in him. Gloria smiling beneath the banner. Edgar enters quietly. "You did it." Malik shakes his head. "We did it." Edgar studies him. "You know, most directors chase numbers, budgets, grants, expansion. You chase something rarer. What's that?" "Belief." But Malik knows this isn't an ending. It's a beginning. Already requests pour in for satellite programs, partnerships and scholarships. Already, critics plot their next doubt. Already he feels the next storm gathering on the horizon. And yet, he feels stronger now, not because the battles are over, but because he's learned storms don't stop builders. They shape them. That night, Gloria calls him to the porch. Snow drifts gently as she grips his hand. "You remember what I told you? That kindness multiplies when you give it away. Look around, baby. This whole center is the proof." Malik leans his head against her shoulder. "Do you think it'll last?" She chuckles softly. Kindness outlives us all. Months later, a young couple enters the center, clothes travel-worn, eyes heavy with desperation. Their car broke down. They can't pay for food. Staff whisper Malik's name. He comes, listens, then offers them a hot meal and a card with his number. As they leave, Jamal grins. History repeats. Malik smiles back. Good. Some history's worth repeating. From that night in the diner to this moment, the thread has been the same. Kindness, tested, questioned, multiplied. And now, as Malik walks through the bustling halls of the Riverside Center, he knows the truth in his bones. Transformation isn't built in glass and steel. It's built in choices, every day, one act at a time. He pauses at the entrance, watching neighbors stream through doors that once led only to abandonment. Then he whispers, "This is just the beginning." And that is where one meal became a movement, where one choice reshaped an entire community. If this story moved you, share it. If you believe in justice and kindness, subscribe and stay with us, because more voices are waiting to be heard. From all of us at Black Voices Justice, thank you for watching. Thank you for believing. Until next time, stay strong, stay kind, and we'll see you in the next story.